One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. Matt Roan is headed from Eastern Kentucky as the Deputy AD down to Thibodaux, Louisiana, named the new athletic director at Nicholls State today. Matt, we've got a couple questions for you as we dig in on this one question, and probably the simplest place to start here is why now for you in your maturation process, and why Nicholls State, why Thibodaux, Louisiana?
Well, I'll kind of give you the same answer as to the why Nicholls State and why southeastern Louisiana. Or South Louisiana. I got to be careful not to say southeastern Louisiana. That's a big rival there. But in kind of the same way that I talked about during the interview process when I was on campus, and I kind of flipped the question and just said, why not? I see a place that is full of great people, talented coaches, an absolute hotbed of recruiting talent inside the state of Louisiana, with just, I think, leadership and kind of the right vision and some of the things that I've learned both at Southern Utah from my mentors and friends there to my time here at EKU. Just kind of why not Nicholls, and why can't we have the type of success that we've experienced here at EKU for so long? For me personally, this was just an opportunity in terms of, you talked about my maturation. I just felt it was the next step. My background is certainly unique in the fact that I've spent as much time working in a president's office or in a council's office as I have athletics. But while I don't have maybe the years of experience of others, I think kind of my breadth of experience has prepared me for this opportunity. And I've been afforded the great opportunity for the past 18 months or so to work exclusively in athletics as the Deputy AD here at EKU. And, in that role, really just dealing with internal, external, administrative, legal matters, all of the types of things that we experience from a day-to-day basis. I just thought now was the time, and the right opportunity came along. It presented itself to me to make that jump, and the pieces fell into place. And so now we'll get on a plane tomorrow, my wife and I, headed to Thibodaux and be introduced on Thursday.
What did you come to find in your research and preparation process into the new opportunity, and or when you were on campus for your interview, that you feel like fits really well with who you are, your skill set, your background, and what you bring to the table?
Well, my background is I kind of going back to the root, is a first-generation college student. My sister and I both were the first in our immediate family to go to college, and institutionally, Nicholls represents a lot of that culture, those same ideals. And as I looked at that, and it was important to me to find a fit where, one, I would be comfortable institutionally, and then obviously from the location, the town or the city that the university was located in. As we kind of went through the process, and being online allows you the opportunity that, the world's much smaller because of the resources that are at your fingertips. You could see that the vision of the university was to serve students, was to be the economic, cultural, and intellectual heart of the Bayou region. And that really struck a chord with me. And then obviously having the opportunity to visit campus several weeks ago. My wife and I have 3 children. We have our 4th on the way. It was important for us to raise our family in that type of safe environment where, you get to meet your neighbors, who you're, who's watching your kids if you want to go out on a date, things of that nature. So as we did the research from home, and then obviously things were made apparent to us when we visited campus several weeks ago, we knew it was the right opportunity, both institutionally and athletically, and even from the town standpoint.
I'm always curious, and I asked Ren Baker this question a couple of weeks ago, obviously the new athletic director at North Texas. Walk me through, and I know it was a really detailed process, but walk me through how you prepared to face the committee when you got on campus in Nicholls, and how deep of research you did in preparation for that opportunity, and just to see if it had the right characteristics that you were looking for in a institution where you wanted to be an athletic director.
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I didn't use a D1 ticker and the things that you guys do on a daily basis in terms of preparation. I went back and looked at what others had experienced. Obviously, Ren Baker as a name with his recent appointment at North Texas, and kind of the things that he went through, and I used that I believe, to my benefit. again, just being able to do things. Obviously, it's balancing your current job, and I was always taught that the best job is the one that you have. And so first and foremost, I wanted to be loyal to EKU. I wanted to do a good job for EKU. But in my free time, what limited free time that we have as athletic professionals, I'd get online and I would look up things and really started just working well with people there on Nicholls' campus and, trying to reach out to the chair of the committee, the provost, Dr. Lynn Gillette, and asking who the members of the committee were. And then, just doing everything that I could, from looking at Twitter accounts to Facebook accounts to, LinkedIn accounts, trying to find out who these people were and what might be their interest, trying to anticipate the questions the best I could. Then, really the on-campus visit was an action-packed day, but it was filled with everybody. I met with the president's cabinet first, and so I did my homework on them. The committee was second. I had the chance to visit with President Murphy and Miss Murphy in their home, and then that shifted to a meeting with the head coaches and then meeting with, obviously, student athletes as well. So I just tried to do as much as I could, tried to find out who that was that I was going to be meeting with, trying to anticipate their questions, but again, kind of a shameless plug for your site. Used it as a resource to see what others had experienced, because those processes are very similar to one another, to see the types of questions and what to expect in that way.
Yeah, I'm glad it is of value. That's kind of the point here. So that's good to hear. And that is not a planted question for everybody else listening. This is the first.
I did that on my own.
That's right. It's the first time Matt and I have ever connected. But okay, so how about early wins at Nicholls? What have you identified, or have you identified where you can make a really quick impact in certain areas of the department?
It's I'll be honest with you. I'm going in ears wide open. It's one of the things that I want to address at my press conference on Thursday. Is the fact that, I don't want to criticize where they are, where they've been, because I don't know that. I really want to kind of immerse myself in the traditions of the university and the department, the successes that they've had. I know they've been successful in a number of things over the number of years. My first and foremost priority is to get in and listen, find out what's important to people, both on campus and off campus. But I see, obviously, anything that we could do to enhance the facilities, even in small ways. If we can just check a couple of those boxes off right away over the next 12 months. And then obviously resource creation is another big piece, is to get in and, we obviously have a great base there with the Colonel Athletic Association, with the success that the football program has had this season. The fan base, I think, is really engaged. And how do we build on that? How do we translate that and carry it forward into basketball and then obviously into baseball and softball as well in the spring? And, the final piece, and I've heard, several others talk about this, and, when you have the people and the tools in place, then you look at the processes. And, I think my job, and kind of, again, coming from where I'm coming from, understanding really the holistic view of athletics is, what are we doing right now to meet the needs of our student athletes? What policies, what procedures, how are we operating that we might be able to tweak to make their experience better and more impactful?
You talked about how you prepared for the interview process on campus and what research you did leading up to that sequence of events. How are you preparing for your press conference? Have you watched a number of others, or have you taken tips from President Benson? How are you going to structure that press conference? And is this like draft 6 you're already on in time for Thursday, or how's that work?
I will say I've been very fortunate to work with President Benson, as you've gotten to know him, as we alluded to before. A very gifted speaker, somebody that can command a room and very charming and really does a great job in that setting. So I've had a front row seat to that over the last 5 years and consider myself very lucky to have had those experiences. One of the things that I learned, really kind of going through this process, maybe answering a previous question better now, is, even though I did all that research, through the interview process, I found out who Matt Roan, the AD, or the potential AD at the point, was going to be. What are my values? What are the things that I believe in? How do I want to operate? How do I want to communicate with coaches and student athletes? And through that process, again, it became obvious to me, or apparent to me, who I was going to be if ever had the opportunity to be an AD. And while I have looked at others, and again, pulling from my experience with the president here, I just got to be myself. I'm going to get up and I'm going to talk about my family, and then I'm going to just set out kind of that 30,000 foot view of what my administration will look like and the things that are important to me. So that's kind of where I stand right now, and we might get through 6 more drafts before Thursday morning, but right now we're going pretty good.
For those listening, Matt, and you worked for President Benson at Southern Utah and obviously again at Eastern Kentucky for the last 18 months, as you noted. For those listening who have an opportunity to become an athletic director in their coming months and years in this business and maybe don't have a really close connection to the president on their current campus, what should they look for in that relationship?
Oh, that's a tremendous question. I think one of the things that I've been fortunate enough, again, working with 3 guys that I've worked with, Ken Beezer, Mark Sandy, who's now at Ball State, and then obviously our current AD, Steve Lottmuller. All 3 those gentlemen have had good rapport with the president and obviously his 100% support. And I got the feeling early on in the process when I was on campus at Nicholls that I would have that same type of experience and relationship with President Murphy there. And that was very important to me. It's not going to be roses all the time. And I appreciated President Murphy, being vocal and say, hey, here's my expectations. I want the program. I want it run in a clean fashion. I want you to always do what is right. And I think that type of open and honest communication at all times, again, it's not going to be great all the time, but as long as there is the ability to effectively communicate, to say what's on the mind, not let things bottle up, I think you have a good recipe there for a successful relationship between President and AD.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.